All right. So we'll come back to this code, but try for a minute to do it my way. All right. And this is kind of what I've said already. It's my way is the friends or the strong induction way, where you, as I've said, you can ask your friends any question whatsoever, as long as it meets the precondition of the same problem, right? You can't say, my job is to clean the house, so I get my friend to wash the dishes, right? It has to be the same problem, and it has to be smaller, right? And you trust them. So, right? So let's do an example. Sorting, right? So we first focus on what the pre and post condition is. So on a test, I would tell you what's the precondition and post condition. Right? So the precondition is I've got a set of numbers, and the post condition is those same numbers are sorted. Right? Everybody got good with that? And what's merge sort? Well, I consider my instance. Okay, there's my instance. It's a collection of numbers. And I'm assured that it meets the precondition, right? And I need to sort them. All right. So then I think about what my output needs to be, right? My output needs to be the same number sorted. Meets the post condition. All right. And so what's the technique? Well, we call it sort of divide and conquer. You cut the problem in half, right? So one of the reasons that sorting's running time is n log n is, where did this log come from? It comes from the cutting in half, right? And so often in recursive problems, you want to take your problem and cut it into two halves. You give one half to your one friend and one half to your other friend, right? And so we got a bunch of numbers and we want to cut it in half. So what do I give my friends? Well, the precondition is that I have a set of numbers. So what I give my friend has to be a set of numbers, right? And if I have n numbers and I'm cutting it in half, then I give my friend n over 2 numbers, right? And let me tell you right now, there's so many details and nuances in coding. That's partly why I don't code. Is, well, what happens if n is odd, right? If n is odd, well, then you give n over 2 rounded up and rounded down to your two different friends, right? But when I'm doing high level, I just don't even worry about that detail, right? So I'm going to give half to one friend and half the other, right? So then we have to think, well, which half do we give them? Well, we could give this guy the smaller numbers and this guy the biggest numbers. And then I would have to work hard to partition them into small and the big, right? And if you did that, you would get quicksort, which I think we cover in these slides. But we're not going to do that. We're going to just take our set and slash it arbitrarily in half. All right? So, and I'm going to get help from my friends. I can have as many friends as I want, right? What do I give a friend? I give a friend a set of numbers. What does my friend do? Oh, and it has to be smaller according to some measure. What does my friend do? Is I trust them by magic to give me the output, right? And it meets the post condition. And so what do? I arbitrarily cut the set into 2, right? It's just, if you're told you're supposed to do recursion, then really try hard to cut it into 2, right? So here we cut it into 2. Now, what do? There we got 2. We give one of the sets to our first friend. All right? Now, everybody think, what does my first friend do? Wrong. No, you're not wrong. But I don't want you to give me that answer. All right? Why don't I want that answer?
Because you're giving the task to two friends. So what your friend would do is give it to another friend.
Yes, why don't I want that answer?
That's kind of micromanagement, and you want to trust that
You're micromanaging your friend. You're micromanaging your friend. As soon as you get into what does your friend do, he cuts it in half. Well, what and gives it to his friends. And what do his friends do? He cuts it in, she cuts it in half. Now you're gonna die, right? You're gonna panic and you're gonna drown, right? And the key to not drowning is not panicking, right? So don't micromanage your friends. So I'll task again. What does my friend do when I give him the set?
give me the others.
Exactly. By magic, he sorts it, right? That's it. She sorts it, right? Why? Because it meets the precondition. It's smaller. He sorts it, right? Okay, great. And then I put those back up there, right? I take the other set and we do the same thing. I don't micromanage them. See the words, right? We put the set back up, right? And now, now, one thing about recursion generally is you have to do something yourself, right? So I take the output. Well, there are two things I have to do. I have to take my input and split it into inputs for my friends. And then I have to take my friend's answer and combine them to get an answer for me, right? So we have our friends' answers and we have to merge them together. And it's called merge sort because we're going to think about them as it's two lines of traffic merging together, right? So if those two lists are sorted, but are arbitrary numbers that are sorted, can you tell me where the biggest number is going to be? At the end of one of the lists, right? That's the key. It's at the end of one of the lists. So we just compare the two numbers on the end of the lists and we move it. We say you can go, right? And then the 80, right? We just do that, right? Everybody buy that? And we're done, right? So the point there, I hope everybody understands the algorithm. And we did it without any code, right? That's the key there, right? Now I know you guys need code,